syrups.
KSTW Washington.
Live from KST Washington, this is the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening again. The sixth and most serious coup attempt against Philippine President Corazon Aquino appears to be fizzling. Hundreds of rebel troops abandoned the TV station and military bases they seized after American jets roared over Manila today. Aquino says the rebels are routed, but not yet vanquished. We get more now from Maria Ressa.
Rebel helicopters repeatedly bombed the Philippine Constabulary headquarters at Camp Crame Friday afternoon. Soon after, U.S. Marines landed at the U.S. Embassy as a line of defense against the rebel soldiers. U.S. warplanes joined the battle to save President Corazon Aquino's elected government.
Once more, two Pacific democracies stand shoulder to shoulder in the defense of freedom. The fight is joined in earnest. The outcome is assured.
By nightfall, victory for government troops seemed certain. The rebel soldiers at the government station surrendered their site. Sporadic fighting increased with chance meetings between rebel and government troops. Again, rebel troop movements began with nightfall. Hours before daylight, government and rebel troops are amassing for what looks like their biggest confrontation yet. Ironically, they meet on what was once the site of the People's Power Revolt of 1986.
It is a politically bankrupt movement. In other words, if militarily it has shown strength, politically it is short-lived. It is condemned to failure.
Unlike the People's Power Revolt and past coup attempts, when civilians cheered Aquino's forces, this time they watched in silence. Thousands fled neighborhoods around the military garrisons. Much criticism has been thrown against Aquino's government. Her latest decision to ask for U.S. support has Filipino nationals up in arms. They claim this will severely hamper the country's bargaining position in the upcoming basis negotiations. The Philippines hosts the largest U.S. military facilities overseas. But others say the picture is much larger.
But the bottom line is, do you want a civilian government or do you want a military government? And for most people, the bottom line is, no, we don't want to be under a military government again.
Maria Ressa, CNN, Manila.
Military officials won't say whether troops and equipment from U.S. bases here in Washington state were involved in putting down the coup attempt. Fort Lewis officials say they cannot discuss anything dealing with any contingency-type operation. Well, this is a tough time for people with family and friends in the Philippines. The coup attempt has left them fearful for their loved ones' safety. Gail Jackson talked with a woman who's keeping a close eye on the news out of Manila.
While Beatrice Lazaro worked in her small store today, her mind wasn't in Seattle, but thousands of miles away in the Philippines.
Oh, I'm really sorry for those people down there, especially my son and his family and my brothers and sisters and their families. I'm really worried.
Lazaro left the Philippines many years ago. Her son stayed behind to run the family's embroidery business near Manila. Neither Lazaro nor her daughter Marissa have heard from him or their many other relatives. Lazaro just prays they're safe. She's encouraged by news things are settling down in her native country.
I'm really glad about it. I'm thanking God about that.
Lazaro may have left the Philippines in body, but not in spirit. She sells only Philippine goods in her North Seattle shop. And as she works, she waits, hoping for news from her family so far away. In Seattle, Gail Jackson reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
A Seattle protest today over U.S. involvement in El Salvador included the spilling of real human blood. The protest took place in front of the federal building following a prayer session directed by Catholic priests. Several people produced vials of their own blood and began pouring it on posters in the pavement. They then moved to the building where the posters and blood were smeared on windows and pillars. Although a number of federal security officers were standing by, they elected not to take any action.
The point is to show that our hands are bloody and our tax, through our use of our tax dollars, as bloody as the bodies we make of the Salvadoran civilians through our bombs and our missiles that our tax dollars finance.
Do you think it was really necessary to go to this point, spilling human blood here?
This is just the beginning. Our blood on the bricks is nothing compared to people's bodies all over the streets and cities of San Salvador.
Protesters plan to hold prayer services each day in front of the building through the 12th of the month.
2 Salvadoran officials had kind words today for a Seattle woman arrested in San Salvador. Jennifer Casolo was arrested in San Salvador after a weapons cache was found under the home where she lives. Colonel Carlos Amando Aviles for the Salvadoran military told the press in Washington, D.C. today that he knows the woman and considers her a good American. Richard Valdivieso, the Salvadoran Undersecretary of Foreign Affairs, suggested that Casolo was used by leftist rebels who hid explosives and ammunition at her home. Casolo has maintained she is innocent of any military connection with the FMLN. El Salvador's president said today his government is safe from a rebel takeover, but Alfredo Cristiani's words of assurance were not enough for the hundreds who took advantage of a lull in the fighting to leave the country. Ronnie Loveler has the latest.
Guerrilla combatants were back in the working-class neighborhood of Soyapango Friday, but all was quiet in the wealthy Escalon sector that was overrun by the rebels 2 days ago. It's been almost 3 weeks since the rebel offensive began, and although government troops haven't been able to rout the guerrillas, President Alfredo Cristiani says his government is in control.
But in no way is the crisis to be defined as that the government of El Salvador is in danger. Maybe the president can be physically in danger and has been obviously since November 11th, probably since before that, but more so since November 11th. But the institution of the government is not in danger of being taken over by a small armed group.
Still, the rebel strike in the Escalon neighborhood prompted the U.S. Embassy to arrange for some embassy dependents to go home early for their Christmas vacations. Americans aren't the only ones with travel plans here. Immigration officials report that they have issued more than 4,000 new passports since the crisis began. People are distraught. Many neighborhoods have been left in ruins because of the fighting.
One feels sad when one begins to think that the fruit of one's whole life is destroyed in few seconds.
Cristiani says economic damage resulting from the guerrilla offensive is approaching the $90 million mark. With so many government soldiers in the city, Cristiani is concerned about providing protection for the upcoming harvest of the coffee, cotton, and sugarcane crops in the countryside.
The reserves that are being organized to try and provide security to the harvesting of our 3 major crops would only last for as long as the harvesting season lasts, which is approximately 3 months.
Cristiani said between 1,000 and 2,000 reserve troops will be deployed, probably beginning later this month. This is the first time that Cristiani's held a news conference at the presidential palace since the guerrilla offensive began. Previous presidential briefings during this time of crisis have been held at a military facility, and his return to his official locale clearly aims to show that he's in control. Ronnie Loveler, CNN, San Salvador.
Next on the 10 o'clock news, a tearful reunion at SeaTac for a German family separated by the Iron Curtain.
And a historic moment at the Vatican today as 70 years of tension between the Catholic Church and the Soviet government comes to an end.
Next on Taxi, Alex asks a sexy phone voice for a date, which turns into a really big date that gets the whole garage talking.
Hope you like Italian.
It doesn't matter. As you can see, I eat anything.
And finds she's more woman than he can handle.
So how's your big date? A witty, bright, sensitive girl who came to the door, disappeared. What happened to her?
Maybe Angela ate her.
Taxi! Tonight at 11 on KST Washington.
Experience the power of femininity. Oscar de la Renta. Experience it now with this elegant holiday gift of perfume and body powder, yours with any Oscar de la Renta purchase. Available at Frederick & Nelson.
It's a store filled with everything you need to get you into the holiday spirit. With hundreds of gift ideas, you can find this store in a convenient location. Ernst Holiday Center. At the Wrap Up the 80s sale, pick up fresh red, pink, or white poinsettias in 3-inch pots for $1.67 each. You'll also find a wide variety of fresh-cut Northwest Christmas trees starting at $9.92. It's all at Ernst, where low prices are always guaranteed. Ernst, start right, finish right.
He's got a gun in my back. Give him yours, Carl.
One made a mistake.
Have you ever heard of the Little Lindbergh Law?
Yes.
One got killed.
Anybody who gives up this gun to some punk is a coward.
One may get away with murder.
Why the hell would I lie? What could I gain?
John Savage, Ted Danson, James Woods, The Onion Field. Saturday at 8 on KST Washington.
Gift books cost too much. Slim down the healthy way with Barbacoffka's Microwave Gourmet, just $14.92. If you paid full price for gift books, you didn't buy them at Crown Books.
KST Washington.
President Bush is aboard the USS Belknap tonight, ready for this weekend's superpower summit off the coast of Malta. The Belknap and its Soviet counterpart, the Slava, will each host summit meetings. The president arrived in the tiny Mediterranean nation this morning, and as he prepared for the summit with Soviet President Gorbachev, Mr. Bush told sailors aboard the aircraft carrier Forrestal they're charged with keeping the peace and that his meetings with Gorbachev can further that cause.
Our meeting here off Malta will last 2 days, but the freedoms that we seek must last for generations.
The president reportedly wants to discuss Eastern Europe, regional hot spots such as Central America, arms control, and the Soviet economy. However, the president says the talks will not lead to any formal agreements, but he says they can provide a new cooperative framework for superpower relations.
On his way to Malta, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev today stopped off in Italy for meetings with business leaders and an unprecedented audience with Pope John Paul. During that meeting, Gorbachev told the Pope that Soviet people will have freedom of religion. More on that from Steve Hurst.
Gorbachev in Malta. He's put the weighty events of the day behind him and is looking forward to his first summit with President Bush.
Although we will be speaking on naval ships, I would like to assure you that we will be speaking about peace. We'll be speaking about how to move toward a better world, to move from a current stage in world development to a new world, to a better world for the peoples on all continents.
Gorbachev wound up his Italian visit with an afternoon stop in Milan. The crowds that greeted him were enormous. The Soviet boss said he found the Italian welcome overwhelming. But the true centerpiece of this visit was the 2 hours Gorbachev spent with the Pope Friday morning. A handshake between the two leaders putting 70 years of suspicion and alienation behind the Kremlin and the Vatican. Two Slavs across the papal desk. Mikhail Gorbachev seemed deferential. Finally, we can sit down and talk, Gorbachev told the Pope. Aides and intrusive cameras were ushered out. The men would speak alone and in Russian. The stately ZIL limousine carried Gorbachev and his wife Raisa into the Vatican 20 minutes behind schedule. The President and the First Lady stepped on Vatican soil in the San Damaso courtyard to be met by Monsignor Gino Monduzzi, a Swiss Guard of Honor 24 men strong and 17 gentlemen of the Holy See. Just as Gorbachev was to reach the Vatican, word came from Moscow that Ukrainian officials had taken a first step toward relegalizing the Ukrainian Catholic Church. Stalin banned the church in 1946. The Vatican demands the church be recognized in return for establishing relations with the officially atheist Kremlin. The Pope spoke first and began in Russian. And as he switched to Italian, he told the Soviet leader their meeting could not fail to have a powerful impact on world opinion, that it would be a sign that is rich in history. As the Pope showed the Gorbachevs out of the Vatican, a rich friendship appeared to be blooming. The two leaders were deep in conversation, perhaps looking forward to the Pope's return visit to Moscow. Gorbachev issued the surprise invitation during their talk. From the Vatican to Milan to Malta, a very busy and historic day for Gorbachev as he heads into these very important meetings with President Bush. And as he landed here, the Soviet president sounded in a conciliatory mood, eager to talk about events in Eastern Europe. Steve Hurst, CNN, Malta.
An estimated 60,000 demonstrators surged through the streets of Bratislava, Czechoslovakia today, celebrating the rapid political changes that have moved their country toward democracy. And at the same time, the ruling Communist Party of Czechoslovakia condemned the 1968 Soviet invasion of their country, saying it was not justifiable. The new Communist Party leader, KIRO-produced, promised to review the situation. Sometime this weekend, a new coalition cabinet is expected to be named by the Prime Minister. And another development in East Germany today. The parliament in Berlin voted to end a 40-year guaranteed communist monopoly on power.
After years of being apart, a Seattle family and an East German family are all finally reunited. Today, Busso and Jeanette LeMay brought their nephew home with them for the first time. 24-year-old Ronald LeMay had been imprisoned when he tried to escape from East Germany to join his parents in Seattle. Heidi Chang has more.
As the SAS plane taxied into SeaTac, Albrecht and Isolde LeMay anxiously awaited the arrival of their son, who had been imprisoned in East Germany. While the couple managed to flee East Germany last May, their son was caught. So today was a dream come true when they actually saw their son dancing with his uncle in immigration. Family and friends gathered to celebrate.
Peace of the wall!
It was an emotional reunion for 24-year-old Ronald LeMay, his parents, and all his relatives.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Waiting for 6 months. This is 6 months. This is a moment. And I can't believe it. It is true.
Ronald described how terrible it was to be in prison when the wall first opened. But thanks to political amnesty, he was soon released. His uncle Busso and Aunt Jeanette quickly left Seattle to join him in Hamburg, West Germany. Together they headed straight to Berlin to chip away at the wall.
So to him, to touch that wall from the western side was exhilarating and just on a cloud nine.
As for Albrecht and the entire LeMay family, no one could believe when the Berlin Wall actually began to come down.
But then again, this is one family who never gave up hope that one day they would all be together again.
It's a wonderful experience of love. Love reunited. We've just all been rejoicing for so long to see each other. And this is the culmination of just being together like a real family.
At SeaTac Airport, I'm Heidi Chang for the 10 o'clock news.
Romanian gymnast Nadia Comaneci, who made so many graceful landings in the 1976 Montreal Olympics, is seeking a new life here in the United States. Today she arrived at New York's Kennedy International Airport after defecting from her homeland 3 days ago. The 28-year-old Comaneci has been guaranteed political asylum by the U.S. government and says she has planned to leave Romania for years.
I want to say just a few words. I'm very happy because I'm here in America and I wanted from long time to come here.
What was the reason that you felt impelled finally to escape?
I wanted to have a free life.
Comaneci's final destination is Indianapolis, headquarters of the American Gymnastic Federation, which will try to find a position of employment for her.
Coming up, Tacoma's brand new garbage incinerator has already received a citation.
And Seattle police have a new weapon in their patrol cars, a fast-acting computer.
Congratulations, Tacoma. You've got a brand new Safeway marketplace. There's a deli, a salad bar, a China Express, an in-store bakery, film and video, flowers, quality seafood and meat, and the finest produce. All that and great prices, too. Come on over and visit your proud neighbors at the new Safeway Marketplace at 6201 6th Avenue in Tacoma.
It's gotta be Safeway. We're what a neighbor should be.
Can you believe it? Mervyn's is having a super sale just in time for Christmas shopping. I'll save on all my presents just as soon as they open. 60% off all fine jewelry, gold, diamonds. Yep, I'll be saving any minute now. A super sale just in time for Christmas. So I'm a little early. More time to window shop. Open, open.
Mervyn's Super Sale starts Saturday, 8 a.m.
Take a loaded '89 F-250.
Now add one more extra, the 26-foot Aljo Ally fifth wheel. Put them together and what do you pay? $339 a month. Now, during Coram Ford and RV's combination sale, get the F-250 and the fabulous 26-foot Aljo Ally fifth wheel, both for a lower payment than the pickup alone. $339 a month. See Coram Ford and RV today. Tell them you came for the fifth wheel deal. Coram Ford and RV, 500 River Road in Puyallup.
Come the night before Christmas, when Santa appears, he could bring your family the gift of the year. It's the Prodigy service. It's like nothing before. It connects your computer to so much more. You can go shopping by hitting some keys. You can plan travel whenever you please. Get sports scores, play games. You'll see there's no doubt. Prodigy's one thing you should not be without. Don't miss out on the best family gift of the year at a dealer near you.
Saturday, Burt Lancaster stars as the Kentuckian. Then Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall are More Than Friends, Saturday on KST Washington.
Relatives of the man who is no longer a suspect in the Green River murders say life may never be normal again. As we reported to you last night, a Spokane man who has been under investigation for 5 months has been cleared of suspicion in the Green River cases. But since his name has been used by the task force and by various news organizations, family members say irreparable damage has been done.
As a prime suspect for the worst serial killings in the United States, 49 of them, and with a few more added on to that, they're trying to add up into 70 to 80 total killings. And now all of a sudden, again, the same people, one statement, and they expect him just to return back to normal.
The Green River Task Force and several news agencies have been sued by suspects who were never charged. The attorney for the latest suspect says his client hasn't decided whether to sue.
Pierce County firefighters were called to a house fire last night to fight that fire, but when they got there, it was steam caused by a marijuana grow operation. After obtaining a search warrant, police found over 100 starter plants and 80 larger plants. Along with that, 5 pounds of packaged marijuana valued at $12,000. Evidence was found that the product was being delivered by U.S. mail. One suspect is expected to be arrested soon. Well, the Seattle Police Department has run into an air traffic control problem. The FCC says that so many police radios are being used in Seattle that the airwaves are overloaded. That's a big problem because the police rely on their radios for their protection and yours. Tonight, Lynn Espinoza looks at what may be the solution.
All right, we'll get an officer out as soon as we can, okay?
With 4 main radio frequencies covering Seattle's 4 police precincts, radio communication is simply becoming an overburdened system for Seattle police.
Because right now there's so much talk time that it's very difficult for the officers to even get on the air if they do have an emergency situation.
Anytime that an officer can't get on the air, then it's dangerous. And at times, I wouldn't say all time, but at times it's been that way.
Seattle police are hoping $3 million worth of computer terminals will solve the problem. With the new mobile data terminals, or MDTs, each squad car, equipped with a terminal of its own, will see 911 information as it's printed. There will be little need for talk between the car and the dispatcher, and with information up on the screen, there can be little cause for misinterpretation.
I think we'll catch more crimes in progress. We'll get there quicker to calls. Anytime you have more information, it's good to have.
This will be a big change for the department. 600 Seattle police officers have had to go through 6 weeks of training just to get ready.
Here they expect a logistical nightmare when the system goes online on December 10th, but they think all the bugs will be ironed out within 6 months. Reporting from downtown Seattle, Lynn Espinoza for the 10 o'clock news.
Boeing's engineers and technical workers will have a chance to vote on company contract offers without recommending passage or rejection. Negotiations between Boeing's second largest union and the company concluded last night. No details of the proposals have been released other than comments that they contain a lot of significant improvements. SPIA represents nearly 28,000 Boeing workers. An informational meeting will be held December 10th, but the voting will be a secret ballot by mail.
Tacoma's new $43 million incinerator has already been cited for violating pollution control standards during its first week of testing. The Puget Sound Air Pollution Control Agency cited the controversial steam plant for emitting too much black smoke when nearby residents complained. Tacoma City light officials say the problem has been corrected.
As a result of burning wood in the combustor during the curing process, some smoke was released that did violate a PSAPCA time standard by about a minute. We are making every effort to minimize this situation, and we are keeping PSAPCA fully informed.
While the citation could cost the company $400, officials say they probably won't have to pay because of negotiations. The facility is designed to burn wood, coal, and some processed garbage to generate electricity.
The burning ban in 4 western Washington counties has been partially lifted. The Ecology Department's ban on burning has been lifted, but the Puget Sound Air Pollution Control Agency has kept its ban in effect. So what that means is people in King, Snohomish, Kitsap, and Pierce counties can only burn wood if it's their only source of heat or if their wood stoves are certified.
And Dave Torch has the weekend forecast in our next segment.
And a little later on the 10 o'clock news, activists concerned about the spread of AIDS visualize the seriousness of the fatal disease with an artistic cover-up.
I'm Steve Crowley. A little rain can put a big damper on your vacation. Rain insurance? I'll show you how to get it coming up.
That'll be a charge. We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
Don't forget, Santa.
'Tis the season to be choosy.
La 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 la.
That's it. So choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
That's a great idea.
You sure know how to pick 'em. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
There's got to be an angel for people like you and me.
Hinshaw's Auto Angels out on the road this morning to get you to work safe and sound. Now let's check that weather forecast.
From our Auto Angel on the highways to the friendly, helpful people in our showrooms and service departments, Hinshaw's is there when you need us. We want to be your Auto Angel.
Hinshaw's, you're an angel.
Hinshaw's Honda in Auburn and Hinshaw's Acura in Fife.
One Christmas morning, a boy meets a friend. A friendship grows that'll never end. Don't you know? Love makes you real. It's what you feel that makes it so.
Make your own Velveteen Rabbit real. Waiting to be loved in 2 sizes, only at Target.
Love makes you real.
Sizzler introduces the all-you-can-eat triple shrimp combo. Crunchy golden fried shrimp, tangy shrimp cocktail, and savory Cajun shrimp.
Can I have more of just the fried shrimp?
Yes.
Can I have more shrimp cocktail?
Sure.
Just Cajun shrimp?
Yeah.
Good. I'll take all 3.
Sizzler's new all-you-can-eat triple shrimp combo. As much as you want of what you want. For a limited time only at Sizzler.
Looking for a used car or truck? Stop. For 3 incredible days, Sound Ford has drastically reduced over 300 used cars and trucks. Many priced under $1,000. Like a 78 Honda Accord, just $699. $699. Get this. Choose from a special group under $99 a month with just $299 down. Like an 85 Toyota Tercel, $42 a month, $42. Or a 72 Ford pickup, $39 a month, still $299 down. Check the newspaper for complete list. Don't miss used cars under $99 a month. Till Monday only at Sound Ford in Renton with service loaners for life.
If you're planning on getting away for the holidays, make sure you're prepared. Money Pro Steve Crowley says now there's even a way to ensure your vacation won't be lost to rain.
You've planned a vacation of a lifetime, and you're taking every precaution to assure an affordable, smooth, and safe trip. You've insured your baggage, purchased your traveler's checks, even bought travel insurance in case your trip is delayed or canceled. But there are some things you just don't plan on. Rain. No matter where you are, rain can spoil virtually any vacation, but now there's a new type of insurance policy that protects your trip in case things turn from sunny to soggy. It's called Rain Check, an insurance policy against rain. It came in handy for Judy Cece and her family. She cashed in on the rain policy last year when 4 out of 7 of their vacation days got rained out.
I made one phone call to Rain Check, gave them my insurance policy number, and they said they would check it out and verify it with the nearest government weather station. And when they verified it, My check was in the mail in a couple of weeks.
Now, it has to rain more than half the days you're away. For the day to be considered rainy, only 1/100th of an inch of rain or more must be recorded at the nearest weather station. So a 15-minute summer afternoon downpour can be considered a completely rainy day, giving you the advantage.
The premium is computed on a percentage of the face value of the policy, more or less, depending on the place you're visiting. Judy paid $90 for a $1,000 policy, plus $7.50 policy fee. When rain fell on her family's vacation, she collected the $1,000.
Rain insurance is a great idea if you're going someplace where it can rain a lot. But if you're going to Tahiti, for example, it's not available. It rains there just about every day.
I'll send you more information about rain insurance. Just write me here at the station, and please include your self-addressed stamped envelope. I'm Steve Crowley with your Money Report.
And send that to our station, P.O. Box 11411, Tacoma, Washington, 98411. Still a little bit smoggy out there.
Still a little bit smoggy, but we're expecting a weather disturbance to come near the coast tomorrow. So I think if the people who work the agency go to work tomorrow, we may lift the ban tomorrow afternoon.
Good
you know, there's always a
point.
question.
Yeah,
You know, it's a weekend. You never know. Any case, we'll be talking about why it may rain. Let's go out to the airport to see what we've got at 10 o'clock, and we've got mostly cloudy skies. Temperature rather mild, much milder than it was last night at this time. Current temperature 48, humidity at 50%. Barometer 30.27, rather high, but holding steady, and it will be falling overnight tonight. And the winds rather brisk, southeasterly at 10, coming off the foothills. And strong in the foothills. In fact, eastern King County has winds 20, 30 miles an hour at this hour, but very light winds down in the lowlands themselves. Eastern Washington, the western two-thirds have low clouds. The eastern border is clear, and that is vulnerable for some fog to form in that area. Temperatures ranging in the low 20s in the northeast to the 30s elsewhere across eastern Washington. Dry across western Washington. That 58 at Quileute is for real. They've been hovering in the 56, 57, 58 degree range much of the afternoon and evening, and we're rather mild through the sound, but not shown on here are the cool temperatures down at Tacoma and Olympia, where temperatures are in the mid-30s at this time. So they're running about 10 degrees cooler than what they are up at Seattle. Over the past 24 hours, a rather chilly morning, with the exception of Seattle's 37. Everybody else was near freezing. Olympia got down to a very chilly 28 degrees. But look at these afternoon highs in the 50s and even in the upper 50s as you get along the coast. The reason for that is the easterly flow of air, and as it comes down the hills, it compresses and warms up, and the reason for the warmer temperatures. We're already a quarter of an inch behind for the brand new month because we didn't rain. We're about 2.5 inches behind on that annual gauge. Eastern Washington remained dry, but a lot of low clouds in the western two-thirds, fog giving away, but it'll reform again once again tonight. Rather chilly along the border. We had teens at Pullman. In fact, we even had a 16 up at Colville. So similar conditions in eastern Washington right through Monday. Your improvement comes Tuesday. And with the easterly flow of air and the light rain coming into western Washington later tomorrow, there may be some freezing rain in the Cascades and along the eastern slopes. That'll be tomorrow and tomorrow night. To the north of us, high clouds in southern British Columbia, Vancouver, and Victoria. You'll get some rain tomorrow, much like we will in western Washington. An intense storm in the Gulf of Alaska, producing rain now over much of southern Alaska. A sort of a little bit of trivia for Juneau for the month of November. They have either rained or snowed every day, and the only way they're going to break that record is if they do it in December, because there's one more day to beat in December than in November. Any case, storm warnings in the Gulf of Alaska for ships there. Winds are howling 50, 60 miles an hour. Central and northern Alaska enjoying good dry weather, but on the cool side. Here's that intense low moving into the Gulf of Alaska, an elongated front. This is really not what we're looking for to give us the rain. We're looking for another cyclone right here that's beginning to develop at the bottom of the trough as the warm air meets the cold air. That'll come in, combine with the front, and come close to the coast and move into southern and central BC, but it'll be coming close enough to stir up the winds, and I think in the afternoon perhaps that ban on burning will be lifted, and we'll get the much-needed rain also to cleanse out the air. Let's put this into motion. You can see for yourself how things are just moving to the north. The front is edging eastward, and of course here's the life-saving low that we need in here to really mix up the atmosphere. And as we come in even a little bit closer, you can see we're just getting breakaway high clouds. Of course, there's a lot of low clouds that the infrared picture does not see, and on the western states, dry. Snow over the Great Lakes, rain in Texas, heavy rain over Cuba. Who goes there anyway? But anyway, if you're going to the Caribbean, Jamaica looks good. Let's talk about some forecasts if you're staying at home. We're talking about eastern Washington, low clouds and fog. There may be some drizzle on those eastern slopes, like I said, and it may even be freezing drizzle. 20s and 30s tonight, only 30s tomorrow. Don't look for improvement until Tuesday. In the Cascades, naturally, we'll see rain developing in the Olympics by late morning. Rain will move into the Cascades by late afternoon. No snow. We're talking about light rain and perhaps some freezing rain, 11,000 foot is the snow level, so the freezing level up at 12,000 feet. Here west of the Cascades, as you can see, the clouds will be increasing tonight and tomorrow morning. Good news, the rain will be moving in sometime during the afternoon or evening. Highs tomorrow still very pleasant in the 50s. Southeasterly winds picking up slightly. And on the extended forecast, it looks like more of a wet one, more systems coming at us. Chance of rain Sunday and Monday, turning to showers on Tuesday. And as those showers move into eastern Washington, that's when you'll get your break sometime Tuesday. Here's a weather picture now for this evening. Our photograph tonight looks more like a forest fire, but it's actually a sunrise as seen looking east from Deception Pass. And this was sent in by Arthur Arndt of Anacortes. So it looks like the ban should be lifted in the afternoon, and we'll be getting a little bit of rain. And you know, for the first day of December, I mowed my lawn and washed my car today. That's fantastic. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. You can come over to my house and watch my car.
Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, David. Coming up next, a cover-up in Seattle for World AIDS Day.
And we'll take the A train, A for alternatives to drugs and alcohol.
Right now, Glen Grant Chevrolet is having the biggest, the greatest one-price sale ever held on a group of used 1989 Corsicas purchased through General Motors. Not $12,000 or more, but now all one price, $79.97, $399 down and only $159 a month. All have air, automatic, and much more. They're going like hotcakes at one price, $79.97, $399 down and only $159 a month. So hurry today to Glen Grant Chevrolet.
Your big-hearted Chevy dealer in Burien.
Cut! Record the scene! Working together, showing you how, helping you say it, doing it now. When there's work to be done, stories to tell, details to capture, nothing works faster. We are the answer. Nothing works like Polaroid. Nothing works like Polaroid.
Nearly half of the 200 demonstrators who blocked Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the White House today were arrested. They were protesting against the United States' handling of the AIDS epidemic and calling for more action from Washington. The protest coincided with World AIDS Day. President Bush has said education about prevention is the best weapon against AIDS. Leaders of nationwide AIDS groups say they will issue a report card with failing grades for the president.
The seriousness of the growing AIDS epidemic was expressed in Seattle today. Bill Benson reports one of the most visual examples was an absence of public art.
The famous Henry Moore vertebrae on 4th Avenue was covered with a black shroud today. So is this piece of public art in front of the King County Administration Building. The cover-up was called A Day Without Art, part of the second annual World AIDS Day observance sponsored by the World Health Organization.
It's to bring attention to the general public that in fact, the arts community has been hit real hard by this disease. They've lost several artists, of course, Rock Hudson, Liberace, and so forth, but there are several visual artists who have also fallen to this disease.
However, World AIDS Day involved more than just covering art. More than anything else, it was a time of education. Booths providing information about the fatal disease and its prevention were set up in various parts of the city. The focal point of the local observance was inside the Broadway Market on Capitol Hill. In addition to information booths, there were also a number of panels hanging, each commemorating the life of someone who has died from the disease. Out of 1,000 diagnosed cases, there have been over 600 deaths in our state so far. And they aren't just gay men or intravenous drug abusers either. Some are like this 22-month-old Seattle girl.
Her father is a drug user. I'm not aware of which or how. Her mother is already dead. He is an AIDS carrier, and she died about 2 weeks ago. And it would be nice to think that she was the only one, but she is not.
The people and organizations involved with World AIDS Day say nothing would be better than to have this be the last observance that was necessary. But unfortunately, with the disease on the rise, that is not apt to happen. On Capitol Hill, I'm Bill Benson reporting the 10 o'clock news.
Pierce County's AIDS Foundation sponsored a memorial service in Tacoma. A capacity crowd came to remember those who have died from AIDS and to support those infected with the HIV virus. Reverend Susan Cutchell stressed the need to take care of each other.
Those of us who are living with AIDS, those of us who have lost someone to AIDS know exactly what Michael's mother meant when she wrote what she did. We survive. We help the ones we love, or we go under. It's as simple as that.
Candles were lit in memory of AIDS victims. The AIDS Foundation reports the disease is reaching epidemic proportions in Pierce County. Last month, the foundation received a new AIDS patient every other working day. The number of known AIDS cases in Pierce County has reached 109.
The Operation Lifesaver Express is on its way. High school students climbed aboard the special train at the King Street station in Seattle this morning. Then the train was off for a two-day swing through Washington and Oregon. It's carrying a holiday message of safety on the roads and railways with a special emphasis on alternatives to drugs and alcohol.
It's a very vulnerable time for kids and adults as well, and this is in recognition that we've lost a lot of kids on the highways, and they're too valuable a resource to have that happen.
The train made several stops in Washington today before stopping for the night in Portland. Tomorrow it heads for Salem and Eugene. Operation Lifesaver is a nationwide public education program.
Coming up, a festival of trees at the Tacoma Dome.
And next in sports, on the eve of King Bowl 13, high school basketball begins. Plus, Tony will have all the details of today's Mark Langston signing.
This is Chuck Boland. Too bad the Steve Largent career has to end with a bunch of slugs. The story next on the 10 o'clock news.
What shall I read?
The Victorian Country Christmas.
Okay.
There's a Christmas town of childhood dreams, sugar plums and candy creams, carriage rides and parades where old-world craftsmen work their trades. Hundreds of artists, Christmas delights, children look on as a tree fills with lights. Food and gifts and holiday wishes are waiting for you at Victorian Country Christmas.
A Victorian Country Christmas, November 29th through December 3rd at the Puyallup Fairgrounds.
It's a store filled with everything you need to get you into the holiday spirit. With hundreds of gift ideas, you can find this store in a convenient location. Ernst Holiday Center. At the Wrap Up the 80s sale, the Skill Twist reversible cordless screwdriver is just $13.27. And American Tool 10H vice grips are only $5.94. It's all at Ernst, where low prices are always guaranteed. Ernst, start right, finish right.
There's a feeling that you get from living here in the great Northwest that you can't describe.
At your Western Washington Toyota dealer,
We've got it right.
we've got it right. With the right deals now.
We've got it right.
On the Toyota that's right for you.
You want the best. We've got it right here in the Northwest.
See your Western Washington Toyota dealer.
Women, imagine no more waxing, tweezing, shaving, and no needles, no pain. Now you can enjoy long-lasting relief from unwanted face and body hair with a safe, gentle, fine-leaf-free home method of hair removal. Look how simple it is to use. In seconds, the hair simply slides out without even an ouch. Finally, you can be free of unwanted hair with Finally Free.
Now available at the Bon Marché.
When you get a cold or an allergy,
you need some herbal tea.
You also get a lot of advice.
What you want to do is feed a cold.
A lot of advice.
Take duties and call me in the morning.
But the best advice is what doctors have said millions of times. Take Dimetap. Dimetap in non-prescription formulas brings proven relief. So take the advice of doctors and pharmacists.
The tea works, huh?
And take Dimetap, the best advice you can take.
Time for sports. Tony is here, and man, do you have a story to talk about tonight? We're talking big bucks.
Perfect time for the Christmas season. You got some big dollars coming in. You can go shopping. I'm sure Langston's wife is pretty darn happy.
Oh, boy.
At the Nordstroms, and I'm sure she has a long list. But well, you know, if you have a son, you better buy him one of these. It's a baseball glove. And why? Because playing Major League Baseball can now pay little Johnny over $3 million per year when he grows up, making for a comfortable retirement for old mom and dad. What this leads us to is the contract signed today by former Mariner Mark Langston. As our Jesse Jones reports, Langston is now the highest paid player in the history of Major League Baseball.
Mark Langston's deal with the California Angels has taken baseball contracts to where they've never been before. Today, the left-hander signed a guaranteed, no cut, no trade, 5-year deal worth $16 million.
It was a very, very tough decision for me. I mean, we waited back and forth and was on the phone so much last night. My ear is still sore today, but Again, you know, we wanted it to be a clear situation for us.
Along with the Angels, the Yankees and the Dodgers try to serenade the lefty. All the offers were comparable, but California owner Gene Autry's songs sound like sweet music to Mark Langston's ears.
You know, he was such a quality man, and I enjoyed being around him. From that point on, they were always the leaders in every direction that we went. They stepped up and took control every time we turned the corner.
But the music wasn't so pleasant to Mariners owner Jeff Smolian.
Had heard that you know, he was sort of reconsidering on his not going back to Seattle idea, and so we had scheduled a meeting with Arn and tell him on Tuesday. So we were stunned, I have to say that.
I told Jeff this morning, you know, I wish he was here 4 years ago. It'd have been a different situation. I think it'd have been a lot better for the Seattle Mariners' existence. I think we would have really had a very competitive team, been on the same level as Oakland.
Both Gene Autry and Mark Langston will ride into the sunset as very happy men. Autry finally has a superstar lefty, while Mark Langston has $16 million and, more importantly, a place he can call home for the next 5 years. I'm Jesse Jones reporting for 10 o'clock Sports.
Thanks, Jess. Things are not only out of control in Major League Baseball. In the NBA, former Auburn High standout Blair Rasmussen will most likely sign a 7-year, $17.5 million contract with the Denver Nuggets, and he's not all that great. All that is needed now is owner approval, and the deal is as good as done. Him and CONCAC will be on the has-been list in 5 years. Mark that down. High school football culminates tomorrow in King Bowl 13 tonight. Prep basketball, hoop go-round style in the Tacoma Dome. Boys and girls, well, they play their games at the same time, different courts. Carlos Beal, this is Lincoln and in black versus Foss. Too much dribbling. He gets stripped by Jimmy Quinns. He goes all the way. Lincoln wins the first game. Game number 2. The fans excited. Bellarmine in white against Mount Tahoma. That's a big rivalry. Number 12, Kyle Bland, sneak on. Oh, there he is, underneath the hoop, back door, and Bellarmine wins that game. Girls basketball now for a couple of seconds. Mount Tahoma in red against North Thurston, and North Thurston's Janina McDermott with the big steal goes down court, and the bucket. North Thurston wins the championship. All right, let's go down to the Tacoma Dome and talk with the Go-Rounds championship coach. That would be Lincoln's John McCrossan. And John, thanks for joining us tonight. The hoop go-round is a tradition, as you know. And what part, I want to know, does it play in Tacoma area high school basketball?
It's just a tremendous tradition, Tony. The 43rd annual hoop go-round. The kids really battle, even though it's only 6-minute quarters. The kids go at it like it's for the state championship. Terrific rivalries.
Well, now with tonight's win, what kind of gauge does your team's performance give you going into the start of the season?
Well, it puts a little pressure on us. We're 2-0 if you count this a victory, as a team victory. We beat Franklin here earlier in the week by 22. Hey, it does put some pressure on us, but that's all right. We have a lot of good athletes, as you saw in the film clip, and we expect to, you know, put them to work. So that's really our theme this year. We're going to work, and so far it's really paid off.
All right, once again, Coach, congratulations and the best of luck to you this season. All right, moving ahead now to Jimmy Zorn. As Steve Largent's career, while it enters the final 4 games, there will be countless stories recapping his 14 years with the Seahawks. The first 7 of those years were spent breaking records with Jimmy Zorn. Zorn is now an assistant football coach at Boise State, and although the two are miles apart, their friendship continues.
Every week we talk, and I tell him the woes of what we're doing here at Boise State, and he tells me the woes of what we're doing there at what they're doing there in Seattle. So we're in tight communication all the time, and it's been really enjoyable. I think that it's nice to have a friend who really cares about you, and you really care about him.
All right, Sunday night on our Sports Extra program, we will look at the Largent and Zorn years, and that wraps it up in sports. And go out and buy your son one of these gloves. So
Could I have that one so I can start him tomorrow?
Maybe, yeah.
All right, thanks, Tony. Amazing.
Well, tonight, Chuck Boland talks about the quiet finish to Steve Largent's career.
There probably weren't a lot of Seahawk fans still watching by the time Steve Largent caught that touchdown pass with 70 seconds left in a humiliating 41-14 blowout by the Broncos. But I'm sure they all saw it on the evening news and shed a quiet tear for the NFL's all-time leading pass receiver. The catch was the 99th time in his 14-year career that Largent caught a TD pass, tying him with the all-time lead in that category with Don Hudson. The quiet tear, of course, was not for missing the catch live. Even a real fan can be excused for not watching that embarrassment or for knowing that Largent had performed the feat to a very small audience. The way the Hawks are playing, there isn't much national interest. It's a silent tear for the end of Largent's career. Not only will he never get to a Super Bowl, but he came back for one last season to try. He got injured and found himself playing on a team going nowhere. Okay, the guy will leave Seattle with a Winnebago full of money and a ticket to the Hall of Fame. But Largent was always such a class act. You hate to think that for him, there will never be a Super Bowl. He may go out in a blaze of personal record-setting glory, but he's forced to spend his last season traveling in bad company. This is Chuck Boland, and that's the way the ball bounces.
Up next, we'll show you more of those fantastic Christmas lights at Point Defiance Zoo.
And the annual Festival of Trees just keeps getting better and more profitable for a children's hospital in Tacoma.
If you're a homeowner, the following information could be worth thousands of dollars to you now.